Good evening, everyone, or afternoon, wherever you are. It is Katie Joy from Without a Crystal Ball. I am ready for you. I hope you are ready for me. Today, we are going to dive in and talk about some stuff related to Miss Abraham, who we talked about yesterday, and I realized, there's a lot going on with Miss Abraham, Miss Farrah, FAF, whatever you want to call her. I think a couple weeks ago we talked about the masterclass. Hey everyone, to all of you newbies that are here joining me live for your first live, welcome, have fun, hang out with the mods. They will be treating you well. Hopefully they'll show up soon. I'm really excited to have you here. Hi Greta. Hey Charity, hey Amanda, hey Kaylee, hey TK, hey Kate. Woohoo! Hi Chakotay. All right, let's get going. So I think a couple weeks ago we talked about a master class that has been hosted by Miss Farrah Abraham. Now, in her class, she says she's going to teach you how to be an entrepreneur. So let's talk about what's going on with her business. Now, let's talk about first her master class. Then we're going to talk about, we could do this one of two ways. We could talk about her business first or the master class second. What do you guys want to do? Do you want to hear about the master class first, or press 1 if master class first, or 2 if you want to do what's going on with her legal stuff first? Everybody get bee-boo, babu, bee-boo, bee. I'll do whatever you want. All right, you guys, let's start with the business, and this will make it a kind of a parlay into her master class. All right, so we have to start with the master class because it's going to get all kinds of fun. All right, let's go. Sorry, as much as that was fun, we're going to start with the master class. Okay, so Farrah is selling a class online that you guys can buy for $99, and it's how to be an entrepreneur and how to become your best self, right? She teaches all kinds of good stuff and gives you advice and tips, and you watch 20 videos and then you get a certificate at the end. Now, the interesting thing is that she has uploaded 3 videos of this onto her YouTube website, or onto her YouTube channel, probably as a teaser for you guys to get an understanding of what you could expect if you took her master class. So what I did is I watched the 3 episodes. I'm going to show you a couple clips here, and then we're going to talk a little bit about this business that she is sharing with you and why you shouldn't spend a dime on her master class. All right, let's go. So in her first, in the first video, we will discuss she was going to have her own brand. So she's going to share with you guys why she made the choice not to franchise, but rather she's going to decide to start her own company. So here you go.
So after being denied, I go, I've been pushed around enough, and I'm going to have my own brand. And my brand is going to be better than all of the brands that I may have to come up against and compete against. And so I made FroCo a fresh and frozen food company that turned into being about frozen yogurt, and I created a mascot, Koba the Popping Boba, who's on the bar at the store. So it was a topping, it was a mascot, it was family vibes, and it started working in 2014.
Okay. So in her video, she basically tells you that she had this itch in her butt to get she had an itch in her butt to start her own business. Now, in the first few minutes, she talks about how she fails at being able to franchise. And some of the issues she runs into is brands not wanting to work with her because of her notoriety. She doesn't outwardly say it's related to her pork past, but I'm guessing that a franchise wouldn't say no if you're a teen mom 2-star, but rather if you're a backdoor mom, if you know what I'm saying. So she decided that she was going to create Boba the Popping Copa. Copa the Popping Boba. First of all, if you don't even know what your mascot is and what it should be, you probably shouldn't have a mascot, okay? So she talks about how she gets into her first store and then she finds a place where she wants to apply to. Now she goes through all this stuff, like there's first generation locations and second generation locations, and it's always cheaper if you do a second generation location. So she decided that she wanted to go into a location that already had a frozen yogurt store failed, first red flag, and then she's talking to the owner and presents her case. So here's what she says.
Open, close, some of the triple nets, so you have to pay other fees for cleaning and everything like that. It's shared because it's in a mall. If it's freestanding, that's a different story. But if you're in a mall, which I thought would be best because I'm around other like-minded businesses, that would keep feeding my business. Something to think about. So I brought my Koba, my Popping Boba in, and I'll have to show you my little plushie. And I gave that to him, and I said, if you have grandkids, I hope you share this with them. This is how I created my brand. I hope it competes with all the other frozen yogurt brands. Let me know what you think. I didn't even have frozen yogurt for him to try at the time. I just was giving him my mission, my brand, family friendliness. Is this okay for the community? Can you please approve me? I heard back later that day, and he said he wasn't interested in my brand.
Okay, so she ends up getting denied, and he's not interested in her brand. And as you can notice, she keeps saying family friendly, community friendly. It's almost like she's well aware that her porking past might be a detriment. So initially, he ends up denying her. And did you hear that? When she went to her business meeting to open a business in a strip mall in Austin, Texas, she literally didn't even have yogurt yet. She had developed an entire brand around Copa the Popping Boba and didn't have anything. She hadn't even made the yogurt yet. And she presents this to him and he decides not to. Now, after the person is unable to find any other business that wants to take the space, 3 weeks later, the owner of the strip mall says, okay, you can have the space. You need to open it in 30 days. So this is her first, this is like episode 3 and it's called Mission Statement. Oh no, that was her episode 4. Or episode 3, which was about making business your reality. So if you're wondering how to make your business a reality, you literally learn nothing in that episode because all she does is talk about her experience. Now, in the in her episode 3, she talks about location from mission statement to location. So now remember, she ends up getting the spot because no one else wanted it, and she was basically handed it by the guy because he needed to fill the spot. So, where is it? And in this one, she explains her best successful companies.
So do you have a location already? Do you have a location? It got me to the point of saying, I can't even open up a business if I don't have a location. Some of the most, or I should say best successful business endeavors I've had no locations and maybe the most money. Now that's something to also think about when you're choosing what business you want to do next. But since we're here at FroCo, it was very important for me to be around a great community with children, schools, bus systems, everything, so that everyone who I hoped my customer base would be could come here.
Okay, so all of her best successful businesses never had locations, you guys. And so that's just something for you to think about. Now, forget the fact that she, at the time when she was opening this, had a lot of money because she was still on Teen Mom OG. If you do recall, this business actually opened in 2016, and she was riding the waves of success from the ratings and her $500,000 a year salary, as well as brand deals, along with all of the stuff she was doing in the pork industry. Okay? Now, she, again, in this episode, literally tells you nothing except what she did and what worked for her. So far, in 2 episodes, we've literally learned nothing, and it's all about Farrah. Does that sound familiar? Okay, so my last example is going to be, where is it here? She's going to discuss, now this one is actually a Q&A, and she's going to answer questions from people that are interested in starting their own companies. And in this question, she addresses the need for education, whether or not you need education to start a business.
I just say, wherever you are, college and business to me don't go hand in hand. I appreciate this email, but I want you to know it's not about make yourself open a business. It's about something that, again, will keep you up. You won't stop thinking about it. You know it's in your heart, like the seed is planted and it's going to bloom. That's when you know this is the right way. I don't just open businesses to open business. I don't want to make money to make money. And I really hope that helped with your question. Denise, franchise. Okay, so someone's really interested in franchising.
Okay, so basically the person was asking a question about what they should do for an education standpoint. And she essentially just said, listen, you shouldn't have to get education, because if you're an entrepreneur, you have it in your heart and it's your passion. And business and education don't actually go hand in hand. Tell that to all of the top CEOs in the Fortune 500 company who have PhDs and MBAs from the top schools in the country. Of course, education and business go hand in hand. The most successful companies are typically run by individuals that have a high level of education. There's far more into this than simply having a spark in your heart. Not to mention, the restaurant industry is probably the most risky industry that you can get involved in, because like 90% of new restaurants fail. Yeah, that's right. In a second clip in that video that I'm not going to show you, she talks about whether or not she would franchise to other people. In that part, she discusses how she would only consider franchising if somebody else had successful businesses that they had run for at least 3 years. Okay? So the funny thing here is, this class is currently online on her website, okay? Or on her masterclass site. She is offering this and promoting this on social media. She is pushing this on YouTube. She talks about it all the time on Instagram. And she's talking about FroCo, the company that is currently like her frozen yogurt company. But I want to show you something, and you can be... The company is currently in forfeited existence, which means this company doesn't exist anymore. Now, she opened the company in 2016. It actually opened first, their doors opened in June of 2016. Their doors closed in September of 2018. She had opened this business with Simon Saran, her ex-boyfriend, and she also, at the same time this one closed, so did her furniture store and her boutique that she opened for Sophia. All 3 of her businesses went kibosh. They are all in forfeited status. She still has like an umbrella company that is still like in good standing, though she has no actual businesses attached to them that are running. So she's selling a master class on a business that no longer exists and telling you that you will have success because she's had success, but the business failed. That's not actually like odd, because most of these businesses will fail, but this is for sure scamming. Okay, now what are some of the reasons why this company might have failed? Well, there's some reviews, and there's lots of reviews. In fact, if you go to Yelp, you'll see that customers were not happy. They called the toppings horrible. They called them stale. They said that the yogurt had a funky aftertaste. They said that the woman that worked there was rude. In fact, multiple people left reviews that when they walked in, Farrah was there and she wouldn't even acknowledge them or talk to them. And Sophia would be there and she would just sit there quietly. People complained that it was dirty, that it was the staff was rude. I mean, there was so many issues here that made this company fail. Probably because she opened the company without even having the yogurt made. She spent all of her time and energy on Copa, the popping bopa, whatever that is. Can we talk about this creepy mascot? He is, So she spent all of her time and effort developing a mascot when she probably should have spent most of her time developing a product. There's Copa the popping bopa, whatever that is. All right. So that's where it starts, right? So she has the mascot. She doesn't have any yogurt. She's selling a master class based on a company that no longer exists and is telling you don't need your education. Just do what I did and your company will be closed in 2 years. But just remember, you won't have the cash to do what I did because you don't do pork and you weren't on a hit show on MTV. So she had 3 businesses in the height of all of this going on, and now all 3 of them are gone. Now, I think many of you may have noticed that she's been bopping around all over the place, traveling the world. Turns out some of this traveling is actually because she is doing her darndest to avoid being served in multiple lawsuits. That's right. So when her company folded, she was still in a lease and she didn't pay the end of the first lease and the second lease. The company that says that she is there's an active lawsuit and you can go to Travis County, Texas and get the records and you'll see that she and Simon are named as parties of this lawsuit and it's for over $100,000. Now, the company that is suing her they can't serve her. They have had such a hard time finding her that they've taken drastic steps to go onto social media to try to pinpoint where she is and then send a server there in the event that they might find her. And each time she has moved to a new location before the process server can find her. So Radar Online actually reported this, and they reported that at the end of September 2018, FNS ceased business operations and abandoned both Suite 300 and 400. In addition, FNS failed to make the required monthly payments under the first lease and second lease on October 3rd, 2018. Plaintiffs gave notice to FNS that if FNS failed to pay all outstanding amounts by October 10th, they would be in default. So she had 2 leases, and on these leases, she just decided to skip out and not pay. Now, her dad, on the other hand, says, oh, just kidding, those leases were up. we don't actually owe any money because the leases were over. Around the same time that this business was likely going into the toilet, they also made this like big note. She made this big announcement on social media that she would be selling her. She was going to stop using the store to sell her products, and she was going to start selling her frozen yogurt in grocery stores. So they filed court papers on July 24th, and the plaintiff filed a motion for substitute service on defendant Farrah Abraham. So basically, they're going to ask to serve anyone that's even connected to her. So plaintiff has attempted to serve Abraham multiple times via hand delivery at multiple locations. The court papers read, each attempted service location was based on their 1, Abraham's usual place of business, 2, Abraham's usual place of abode, and 3, other addresses where Abraham could potentially be found. She's also running from a second lawsuit where she owes a lawyer in a previous lawsuit $2,577, and that lawyer has not been able to serve her. So what they're hoping they're going to be able to do is to serve her at her dad's house in Austin. Now, interestingly, in the middle of all of this financial crisis, she has actually moved in to this house with her father. The house is located in Austin. It's 1,000 square feet, and she's living there with Sophia, her dad, and her dad's new wife, Amy. On social media, she is acting like she makes all the money and she's living her best life. But you guys, she's literally living with her dad in a 1,000 square foot house. That's quite the difference from the 3,000 square foot home she previously owned when she was on Teen Mom OG. I feel like Farrah is at a crossroads here, and it's, I feel like she's probably broke. She's living in a tiny house that she doesn't own. And listen, if you guys are in 1,000 square foot homes or even in an apartment, that's fine. But you guys are not on social media telling everyone how rich you are and about your best life and traveling all over the world to avoid being served in a lawsuit. You also didn't previously own a home in California that was $800,000 or a 4,500 square foot home that was in a very nice development in Austin, Texas, that was valued at $750,000. For her to move into a home like that with her father is a definite fall from grace. She probably only has herself to blame here because it was her attitude, it was her inability to be kind to the producers on MTV, it was her arrogance, the fact that she literally couldn't stay friends with any of the women on there, how she thought she was better than everyone, and the fact that she did pork. So, selling classes on master classes on how to be an entrepreneur when you literally have all your business in failure, you are running from the law, and then trying to bilk people for $100 to take classes is not only unethical, but it's an absolute scam. She is stealing money from people with this whole idea that you can do what she did, and she's not even being truthful with you that none of these companies exist. That's despicable. I understand you got to make money, but there's really no excuse to do that through lies, which is probably another reason why all of her businesses have failed. I'm not shocked when I found all of this information at all. I think the biggest thing that shocked me more than anything was that she's living with her dad. I mean, we all know that like how much she doesn't get along with Michael half the time. And yeah, she's got a kid with her in all of this. Can she go to jail? None of this is criminal. The lawsuit is a civil arrangement. So it wouldn't necessarily be something that they would, she can end up getting a judgment, but it's a civil business agreement. She will have to pay them back, but that doesn't necessarily mean that she would get arrested for this. Now, in terms of like the master class, I mean, if anyone is going to fall for this, you really should be vetting who you're looking at, and don't look at the social media surface of what it is and who she says she is, because clearly who she's pretending to be online versus who she is in reality is very different. You can go onto any major search engine, like if you wanted to pull a background check on her, and you'll see it's in there in black and white. You'll see all the failed businesses, you'll see her location, you'll see her address, it's all there. And this fact that this company can't, and then the lawyer said they're literally not going to pay the money. They refused to pay. They said it's frivolous. They're not going to pay it. They didn't have a lease. They're lying. Do you really think a strip mall that has successful businesses there is going to spend legal money on something they couldn't win? A lease is a legally binding contract, and if you don't pay it, you can absolutely get sued and have to pay not only the money that you didn't pay to them, but also their legal fees as well. So this is what I learned by going through Farrah's masterclass, and that is, don't take it. Farrah's a terrible entrepreneur, and you should absolutely have education and not income from pork before you consider opening a business. I am interested in hearing from you guys on what you guys think about this. Do you think that what she's doing is unethical? Do you think it's illegal? Are you surprised that she is not currently like living with her dad? Are you surprised that she's running from this lawsuit? Are you surprised that her financial situation is as dire as it sounds? I can't wait to hear from you, and I am so excited from all of you. This is definitely not bullying. This is really, I mean, honestly, when I found all of this, you guys, more than anything, I know we snark on Farrah here, but more than anything, I'm doing this as a public service announcement. Please don't spend money on this class when the company that she's using to sell the class literally doesn't exist. And she's running legally from lawsuits and scamming you out of $99 to learn nothing. All right, you guys. We don't bully here. We snark, right, you guys? We don't bully, we snark. And we don't drink tea. We eat and sip on the truth, all right? And one thing, you guys. My husband wants to do a stream tonight. So check this out. My husband and I are going to come on later tonight, and we are going to do get to know you questions, and we're going to ask each other questions on stream. It's going to be hilarious. My husband is super shy, but he wanted to do an impromptu stream. He said that he really wants to interact with you guys. So join us tonight if you're interested in hearing about my husband and I, our crazy life. We will probably be on at 9 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern, and then 7 o'clock Pacific. So join my husband and I later tonight as we get to know each other through relationship questions. All right, you guys, I'll see you a little bit. Bye.